I love making something out of nothing. I'm not trained, but I am brave and determined. Of course, I could hire a professional, but DIY first. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So, we're jumping into phase two. As you're looking at this, you're going to see some things that I didn't show in the last episode because I lost some of my footage. But what you didn't see was the install of the countertops. You didn't see the creation of the drawer fronts, the installation of the sink, the faucet, also the pantry build out. All of that footage was lost, but you'll see some glimpses of all of those things in this episode. The first thing I needed to do was to repair the ceiling and close in those holes. So I wanted to try to remove the cabinet that I installed around the refrigerator. And that became a little bit more complicated than I thought. I'm trying to get this cabinet off, and I guess I installed it too good because it's not moving. I had some screw attachments attaching this one to that one. So I took the screws out and I tried to score the crease in between them. But there is at least one or two screws in the bottom of this cabinet that's going into the stud. And I guess I filled the hole really well because I can't find where the screw is. I don't know where the screw is. And also in the crease here between, there is caulk. It's clear caulk because there's like a little bit of a gap here between the countertop and this cabinet. And I can't get that off. I could get it off, but I don't know if I can get it off without tearing up this cabinet. So what I think I'm going to do is to try to fix the drywall with the cabinet in place. So obviously that's going to kind of limit what I can do on top of the cabinet, but I am going to put trim between the ceiling and the cabinet top, so that should close off that whole area. But I really don't want to have to tear this cabinet up, so I think I'm going to pivot and do it that way. Also, I forgot about this, but that hole there, I need to fill that hole. So this hole was put here when they took some plumbing pipe from the laundry room and pulled it through the wall so that the refrigerator could have access to water for the water dispenser and the ice maker and all of that. Well, I don't use that feature on this refrigerator because this refrigerator was already here. I was like, I don't know how to get this apart to clean it properly, and I'm not trying to use used water. So I just never used that feature. So I didn't need that pipe there. Plus, when I did the laundry room makeover, the plumber was able to repair that and reroute the pipes so that they didn't come through the wall. So I needed to fix that hole. And here, they had a little bitty piece that was sticking out. So you've seen me do this before, where I'll take a piece of wood, like a scrap piece of wood, and screw it to the existing drywall. And then that will give me something for the new drywall to attach to. This was a really skinny space, so I used a clamp to try to hold the piece of wood in place so that I could screw it in. I noticed a little bit ago that some of my footage orientation is flipped. So it's looking like the kitchen is going in one direction, and then the camera angle might change and then it's going in a different direction. So no, your mind is not playing tricks on you. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know how to fix it. So we just gonna roll with it. So pardon my, ignorance on how to repair that feature. Anyway, so I'm going here on the other side. So any places where I didn't see a stud that I could screw into, I just added that piece of wood there so that I would have something behind the drywall to attach to. And this little area was really tricky. I was trying to figure out if I could take the drywall from one side to the other side of that cabinet and attach it that way. But ultimately, I determined that that probably wasn't a good idea. There was no way to be able to screw the drywall in above that cabinet. So I decided to go a different direction. After I got this piece secured, I used my multi-tool to go in and cut the excess off that's above, and I took that little piece out. And so that was able to kind of fill in that area. Kind of messed up a little bit, but I was able to fill that gap later. This little section might be the easiest of the 3 areas that I needed to patch. So I just got my measurement, transferred that measurement over to my drywall piece. I scored it, broke it, cut the back, and installed a patch. Okay, so this area is where the electrician cut into the ceiling. And I really wasn't happy about that because I didn't think I could patch this and make it look good. So you can see how prominent that patch is from when I originally did it. I was thinking maybe it's because of the way I did it. I used some of those drywall patch clips to do this patch. And I thought maybe if I used wood and used the other way of attaching it, maybe I would get a better result. I wanted to be really careful cutting into this piece because I know that there's an electrical wire somewhere in there, and I didn't want to make a mistake and go too deep and cut it. So I'm being very gentle in how I'm going through the drywall. And once I got that piece out, then I was able to take a measurement, and I went ahead and found a piece of drywall that would work to fill in that area. Once I got that cut like I liked it, I traced around it so I could try to get the hole as close as possible to the actual sheet of drywall. And then I cut that out as well. And that made it a lot easier to patch this area without having to make too many other extra cuts. And since I was able to feel around in that hole, I was able to get the piece big enough to be able to reach over to both studs. So initially I thought that this hole was down too low because the depth of the drywall was different. But I realized that that wasn't the case. It was just the way that I attached it that made it stick down like that. So once I was able to get the hole to the right size, then I was able to attach it. And now it's at the same level with everything else in the ceiling. almost forgot about this hole. This is the hole that was behind the refrigerator. This piping, there used to be a pipe that came through this wall from the laundry room to come into the kitchen so that water could be hooked up to the refrigerator. But since we did the laundry room, that's all been repaired and changed, so there's nothing coming through the wall. So I'm gonna close this off. This piece was here originally. It's broken, but instead of trying to fill this, I'm going to put this piece of wood behind here, and that'll stabilize this piece, and then I can put the new patch in front of that, and that should fix this hole here, and then I can go ahead and patch it in with the mud and tape. My battery's about to die, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording for this section. I won't record this part. You've seen me do drywall 1,000 times. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix this, get it mudded and taped while my battery charges back up, and then we will continue working. Okay, I know I look really weird, like a Mad Hatter or something. Anyway, I'm gonna try to recreate the texture that's on the ceiling. I tried it once before with stippling and it didn't quite look the same, and now that I look at it a little closer, it looks like it was rolled on with a roller, like the drywall was rolled on, and it created like a really subtle kind of texture. I don't know if I can recreate that, but I tried to sand a little bit of it down flat to try to smooth it out, and even though I was using like a 60 grit sandpaper, it didn't really take much off. I couldn't really get it smooth, and in order to do this entire ceiling, like, ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm gonna try to recreate the texture on the areas where I put the patches of drywall. I don't really have to worry too much about this particular area over here. At least most of that area will be covered up with cabinets, but this area over here will be seen, and maybe the edges around like in front of the cabinets might be seen. So I'm gonna try to see if I can recreate that, and we'll just see how it goes. Good morning, y'all. I'm in the kitchen. What I'm about to do now is seal the drywall back here. So I went back in after I did the first patching and I did the corner pieces of tape to seal that off. I went back and I wanted to make sure everything was good and sealed off. I didn't really sand or anything like that because all of this behind me is going to be behind cabinets. But I do want to go in with a coat of primer just so I can seal that in. I think that drywall mud, if it's left open or exposed, it can absorb smells and things. And so I just want to make sure everything is sealed and, you know, protected from moisture and all of that. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then while that's drying, I'm gonna go outside and finish the first two cabinets. Then we can kind of see what to do next.